Welcome back, everyone. Very excited for our next conversation titled Diversity Leading from the Trenches. I'm excited to introduce Anoop Gupta, the CEO and co-founder of Seekout. In addition to the incredible work that Seekout does and has been doing for years, as part of this conference, Seekout is one of the sponsors matching donations to Code 2040, which I will post on the stage channel. They are also responsible for the free conference t-shirt, which Anoop will be telling you a little bit more about in his conversation. But an incredible organization. This should be an incredible talk with Anoop and Jayson, and I will let them introduce themselves and slide off stage. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Dave.
Hey, thank you, Dave. Hi, everyone. Anoop here. I hope you and loved ones are doing well and being safe in these unusual and crazy times. Welcome to our session on diversity leading from the trenches. We've had some incredible talks from Torin and Carmen and some incredible depth and wisdom. I'm Anoop, as Dave said, co-founder and CEO of Seekout. Seekout is a 3-year-old startup with a mission to provide companies a competitive edge in recruiting hard-to-find and diverse talent. Diversity has been central to us from a very beginning. The central core and success of any organization is defined by its employees, and that is why your roles, all of you attendees, are so important and why we believe in our mission. Our focus today will be on diversity. Diversity has always been important, but our awareness and sense of urgency to address diversity has skyrocketed given the recent events, which is wonderful, and it's top of mind for CEOs, CHROs. However, it can feel sometimes there's more discussion than action when it comes, and that is why I just absolutely loved it what Torin, said. It was amazing, pushing us to take concrete action. Carmen was amazing in terms of highlighting, very concrete things between hiring manager, recruiter alignment, getting some extra positions, having those discussions. In this short session, we'll fly a little closer to earth and focusing on the concrete things, and I'm delighted to have Jayson with us. A quick background about myself. I'm a geek and an entrepreneur at heart. I came to this country in 1980, got a PhD in computer science from Carnegie Mellon. I was a professor at Stanford for 11 years and sold my first startup focused on streaming media today's scenarios to Microsoft in 97. I spent 18 years at Microsoft, including reporting directly to Bill Gates as his technology advisor and heading the Skype and Exchange teams. Our founding team at Seekout comes from Microsoft with deep technology, AI, ML backgrounds. But I mention all of this because technology needs purpose. And for us, the purpose, the audience of our efforts is you, the TA leaders and professionals. And our focus is in the service of companies, finding the best people to realize their vision and missions, and people getting matched to roles that gives them meaning and fulfilled as career people and purpose. So enough about myself. I have a wonderful co-panelist, Jayson Johnson. Jayson is a senior principal talent discovery partner at Genentech, but also the diversity lead at Genentech. As you know, they are a biotech company working to solve the world's most complex health challenges to serve patients and society. So Jayson, it'll be great for you to introduce yourself and your current role and mission at Genentech.
Sure. Thanks, Anoop, and thank you to everyone who's joined today in this career conversation and D&I journey. And thanks to the folks at Wade and Wendy for organizing this as well. As Anoop mentioned, I'm the Senior Principal Talent Discovery Partner and Diversity Lead at Genentech. And what that means is I'm helping to play the role as a sourcer. I help out with our recruiting processes and helping to identify diversity strategies, tools, and tactics for engaging diverse talent communities. I work across a few different functions at Genentech, and as well as provide some advice and guidance to some of my other colleagues to support the other functions within Genentech. I've been in Genentech for the last 3 years, but prior to that, I have a slightly very different background where I worked in nonprofit fundraising, and I worked for both San Francisco Ballet and Harvard University in their West Coast Development Office, and doing major gift fundraising for both of those organizations. And so I bring to the organization at Genentech that sense of how do you build community, how do you identify opportunities for folks, how do you engage new and different audiences. What draws me to this amazing work that I'm doing in the D&I space, aside from being diverse myself, is that I'm a nurturer by nature. My astrological sign is Cancer, and so I love to play the role of helping to support and develop people, and also play the role of connector. So again, as in fundraising, I'm connecting people to philanthropic opportunities, and in my role in executive recruiting, I'm connecting people to career opportunities. Growing up as a Black young man in Columbus, Ohio, I went to a school that was, had a significant representation of Black students, if not majority Black student population. But as I continued to navigate my way in my career, both educationally and professionally, I started to see a decline in the number of Black people I saw represented in those organizations. From my college days at Washington University in St. Louis, and then going to grad school in DC at American University, again, I just want to see more of a representation of diverse talent communities in those spaces. And so my role is very gratifying to know that I'm doing what I can to contribute to diversity at Genentech, and also play the role of helping my colleagues and my friends in their journeys. We're all at different places and different stages, and everyone needs, I think, help in understanding where their blind spots might be and how I can be there to support them in terms of reaching diverse talent communities.
Thanks so much, Jayson. I just wanted to reemphasize the importance of seeing role models that look like us, in ahead, and they inspire us. And so thank you for, sharing your story. And I think that is why the purpose here is so important. And having, as Carmen was saying, not only at individual, at leadership levels, at all levels, having diversity becomes so important. Hey, to set further context for our audience, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Genentech diversity goals as a company, and then we will, zoom down closer to the earth on what, individuals do and what you are doing?
Sure, happy to share that. I'm really excited because earlier this year, our CEO named a new position, which has been just really impactful already. Quita Highsmith is our new Chief Diversity Officer, and she reports directly into Alexander Hardy, our CEO. And what's exciting is that she's been able to develop a comprehensive D&I strategy that is enterprise-wide, but also allows for space for each of the functions within Genentech to develop their respective goals in their areas. And so I'll just read a quick quote. This is the only robotic moment I'll have here, but just one quick quote that I'll share from our Chief Diversity Officer. At Genentech, we embrace the increasingly diverse world around us. Our mission is to deliver scientific innovations that drive better outcomes for our people, patients, business, and communities by advancing and boldly championing diversity, equity, and inclusion. And how we go about doing that is we have 3 primary pillars that are driving our D&I activity. The first one is foster belonging. And this is the pillar where we'll spend some time a little later, because this is the space where TA has a strong role. And what we're doing there is we're ensuring that we are advancing and bringing in the best and brightest talent from all backgrounds, whether it be racial or ethnicity backgrounds, or diversity of thought and experience, industry experience, et cetera. And so we want to create a place where all employees are valued, they're included, and they're able to contribute their best to our patients that we're serving. And so that's a really, again, a great space that, again, TA is working in. And over the last decade, we've done tremendous work in advancing gender diversity and gender representation in leadership. And just to sort of highlight for a little bit here, since 2007, we more than doubled the percentage of female officers at the company from 16 to 43%. And today, 53% of Genentech directors and 49% of managers/supervisors are women. So we are incredibly proud of what we've done to advance women in leadership, but we also recognize there's more work to be done, and there are more communities that we want to advance.
Jayson, I just wanted to say that's amazing progress. So fantastic, and congratulations.
Thank you. So of course, our focus now is on advancing people of color. And that is going to take a multi-pronged approach that is helping to, again, unlock the opportunities within our employee population. The other two pillars that we have for our D&I strategy is advancing inclusive research and health equity. So when you look around and you hear the news today, you hear about the impact of COVID-19 on underrepresented communities, there's more work to be done to ensure that diversity is being included in our clinical trials, and that's what we're working towards. And finally, transform society. What are we doing in the communities in which we work and live? And so we're doing amazing work from a philanthropic perspective to contribute to STEM education, both in K through 12 education as well as in universities. And we're doing a lot to tackle childhood adversity and the impact that plays on health equity. The main takeaway from this, and now this is a few takeaways I want to share with the audience here. So the first one is that we were able to be successful with this work, both the work we did with women and the work we're planning to do around people of color, is by having the business involved. Any successful D&I strategy has business involvement. And so, as I mentioned earlier, our D&I team is working to embed D&I in the functions themselves. So each function, each of the 5 functions we have at Genentech, so that includes R&D, manufacturing, et cetera, they each have D&I strategies and D&I steering committees within them who are helping to advance D&I within their respective areas.
Thanks, Jayson. One of the things, I'm so excited to talk to you today, and that I find, particularly exciting is the fact that you're bringing out it is D&I is not as simple just a talent problem, but it is really important to take a very holistic view. And how do you involve all aspects of the business? And as we know, in the past, medicine hasn't developed taking all people, women into account, people of color into account. And so, doing that. And of course, then using the talent as you bring in people into the company who are diverse, then it increases the focus of that and the community aspects to it. So as you're saying, it's a complex topic and there are many stakeholders at play. However, the talent acquisition teams, where you belong, have a very special role also in making progress towards diversity. So zooming down, could you speak a little bit more from the perspective of the talent acquisition team and, steps that you're taking at Genentech to help address and get better?
Yes, happy to. So this is where I'll add in a second takeaway that I want to share with the audience. And this is something that my colleagues and I, our head of talent acquisition, our chief human resource officer, we're all thinking about this. And this is, are we showing up in diverse talent communities? Meaning, are we showing up both digitally as well as physically in diverse talent communities? And what I mean by that is we are devoting our resources towards, first of all, what are we doing from a marketing perspective? If we say that we hire the best and brightest, we have to make sure that the best and brightest out there knows who we are and has trust in what we're doing as an organization. And for that, we are doing all we can to showcase the amazing and diverse voices and faces of our employee population. So we've been very intentional about really evolving our marketing materials so that it truly reflects our employee population. And behind the scenes, we're doing what we can to make sure the diverse audiences we're trying to reach are seeing that content. So we are working with all of our social media platforms to ensure that we're using paid and targeted marketing to reach those diverse audiences, whether it be people who are members of or alumni of diverse schools or members of diverse associations, we're doing what we can to, again, make sure that that content is being seen by that diverse population. We also invite a lot of our employees to participate in a social sharing, on that social sharing platform. So we have a tool that we use called Dynamic Signal that helps us produce and share pre-approved content with our employee population, and they can in turn share that with their social channels if they feel so inclined to. As I mentioned earlier, we have a multi-pronged approach that we took with developing and advancing women into leadership, and we're taking that same approach when it comes to people of color. And so starting at the university level, our university talent acquisition and strategy team has very robust relationships with diverse schools, whether that be historically Black colleges and universities or Hispanic serving institutions. They also have relationships with diverse student associations on those campuses, as well as with principal investigators in labs to really share with them how we want to make sure we're attracting a very robust and diverse talent population. So we host webinars, we host campus events where we bring students to our campus to understand what it means to have a career at Genentech. And we're not only talking to them about internship opportunities, but we're talking to them about their long-term potential at Genentech. What do they need to do now in order to be competitive for our opportunities as they advance in their careers? We also have developed a lot of partnerships with various industry-specific organizations that bring together diverse talent. So, Women of Color in Pharma is a great organization we've got involved with from the very beginning. National Medical Association, which is an association for Black physicians, and National Hispanic Medical Association, which is also an association for Hispanic physicians, as well as many others. There's countless ones I can name, but again, we want to show up at these conferences. We don't want to just hope that people will come to us. We have to go to where they are. And when you go to these conferences, you're competing with the attention of the entire group that's there. So we recognize we need to go a step further, and so we started. One of the things I started hosting on campus is an event called the Change Sequence. And this event has been just my baby. It's been so successful and so exciting. We bring together external talent, whether it be at Black History Month in February. We also do it in the September-October timeframe for Hispanic Heritage Month. And it's a way for us to bring talent to us, have people come onto our campus, see our campus, meet our leaders, and hopefully build meaningful relationships with our leaders that last beyond that event. And I've seen some great relationships begin to thrive, and I think there's more work to be done there. But that's been a great start in terms of connecting our leaders with the external talent.
Hey.
And yeah.
No, it was all good. No. Please finish it. I was going to ask the next question.
Just one final thing is just really hoping that our leaders are broadening their networks and making sure that they're playing the role of advocating for talent. Yeah.
Now, so as I said in the beginning, the geek I am and technologist as a background, I was wondering, what are you seeing as the role of recruitment technologies in helping you hire great diverse talent? So, we're just going deeper and deeper. So any thoughts on that?
Yes, definitely. Yes. We leverage several different technologies to help us in our work. I mentioned a few earlier in terms of the social sharing platforms. But of course, we use LinkedIn like most of us all use. We use LinkedIn Recruiter. We also have invested in Seekout, which is, of course, why I'm here today to have this conversation with you, Anoop. But also Intello, which is another tool that we use to help source talent. And what these tools do is they help us really be more intentional about, again, looking and sourcing for diversity. And so the final sort of takeaway I share with you today is that we've done what we can to increase the capabilities across our talent acquisition organization to attract, engage, hire, and retain diverse talent. And by that, I mean, we recognize, so on our team, we have our talent partners who are the full life cycle recruiters, as well as our talent discovery team, who are our sourcers/headhunters. And we recognize that, again, we're all at different stages of our journey and when it comes to D&I, and what are we doing to be intentional about reaching out to diverse talent communities. So this year, and in fact, last year as well, we started to increase our capabilities across the organization to ensure that everyone in our talent acquisition team had a similar and a sort of concrete knowledge of how to engage with diverse talent communities. And that includes everything from understanding how to use Boolean searches, understanding what diverse professional associations are out there that are relevant to the skill sets that we're hiring for, bringing that awareness to our talent acquisition team so they are intentional about targeting those talent pools when they're looking to fill some of their active requisitions. And then, of course, how can we be more proactive with building those relationships as well? So, joining again some of these associations, going to these conferences. But again, the tools we use a variety of tools to help us in that regard.
Yeah, no, thanks so much. So, Jayson, given the time, what I was going to do, and I hope it works for you, is actually jump into Seekout and tell people a little bit on where and how technologies, can help what is coming on. In every industry, having the right tool, having the right sharpened axe can make the job easier and better and help. So, hi, everyone. I'm going to take you, again, as I said, geek, I like to go into the concrete. So I'm going to go and actually give you a 5-minute overview into Seekout and what you can see. And, then there'll be more options later on. So I'm going to share my screen and let us see how it works. And I'm going to bring in a brief PowerPoint. Just a couple of slides before, and then I'm going to show you. So, Seekout is a talent search engine, just like Google could be a product search engine. And our mission is around hard to find, helping you recruit hard to find and diverse talent. This has been from the beginning, focusing. Okay, so this is saying, lots of customers from tech, including Microsoft, pharma, defense, just all kinds of companies that are there. So on diversity, one of the things we do is how do you find, women, African-American, Hispanics, veterans, and out of the 130 million profiles we have, we can find you 54 million, women, 10 million, 5 million African-American. And it uses actually fairly sophisticated AI and ML searches. One of the things I always point out to people is that when you build a Boolean search, let's say you use the 50 most common female names to find out, or 100 or even 500, many of the people who are attending today, Leanne, Minerva, Sonia, Flora will probably get missed. So you implicitly actually introduce bias when you use Boolean technologies, and there's much more deeper, techie ways to do that. The second thing is to understand what does the talent pools look like? And this is for whether it is leadership planning or whether recruiter planning the strategy, where to look, what to do. And then unconscious bias is something we are talking about both in your sourcing process and also as a nudge to the hiring managers to say, what you can do that. So with that, just, broad introduction, I wanted to take you to a real demo. So let us go back to our screens. So the first thing, you always want to just look around is, hey, can you do a good job of diversity? So I decided to take you to Airbnb side, and we said, let's look at US data. Many of your companies publish such information. So this is US gender at Airbnb. We can see, what percent female, Hispanic, African Americans, we can see. And if you do the search in Seekout, so I'm just saying current companies, Airbnb, and from 441 million, we will go down to 6.1, and there's this people insights feature that we have, which will let us look at the details, and you can export this content. So let's go down and look at diversity. And, there's just a lot of data. So here we are on diversity. So you can see we say 45.2% versus the 43, 44, but this is 2018 data there. We say 8.7% Hispanics, they say 7.83, we say 3.2% African American, they say 3.52. So the bigger message is that you can do really well job, and you can within Seekout dig in very, very fine ways to look at it. The second thing I decided, so this is the analytics you can use in any particular way. And because Jayson and I are there, I decided to say, diversity is hardest, as Torin and Carmen were saying, when you look into very detailed. So we're looking for director, biochemical, cellular, pharmacological, this thing. So I did a search, within Seekout. So I said we are looking at directors, and we want biochemical, cellular, pharmacological, vitro assay. So I just do this search, and it gives me 2,000 candidates out here. And with a click, I can look at the people inside. So you might say, are there African-American people? How many women are there? What is actually really happening out there? So we can do this search, and we can, again, look at, we can look at the diversity data that there are, 22 African-Americans and females and Hispanics that is there. You can look at this in a graphical form, but also, with one click, we can not only look, and we can look at what companies they are at, we can look at the cities they are at, we can look at, where do they work? And so, in fact, then I can go and look at, the top candidates that show up. So this makes, finding highly qualified candidates much easier than you might have thought is actually possible. And because we are using, from HBCUs to African-American sororities and fraternities to, membership in associations to names which lead to this thing. So there's just 10 different signals being used. And you can also combine diversity where you can go and say, hey, I want African-American women. And so, with a single click now, if I clicked it, we are looking at African-American women out there. The other thing we can do just to this thing is we have something called a blind hiring mode to reduce unconscious bias. Everybody gets converted into a cat. Everybody, so that you're looking more at the projects. And in fact, one of the projects that I was doing was, for the director BCPs, this thing, they're blind. When you share with the hiring managers, there's also the possibility to give a brief nudge to say, hey, they see it in this mode with everything hidden. All of us have some unconscious bias. How can you reduce unconscious bias? So just a brief plug for technology in some sense, and I'm going to stop sharing that there is a lot of information that we can provide and help facilitate for people, who can search and make it both easier, facilitator to have conversations with leadership and what can be done. So Jayson, back to you. If you want to talk about the takeaways, I'm noticing we are almost on time.
Yeah, just a quick recap, and I know this conversation went quickly, so I understand there's
yes.
probably questions we weren't able to answer, but so apologies around that. But just a reminder, those three takeaways is that the key to our success is really involving the business, so really embedding D&I in the functions themselves. Yes. What are we doing to show up in diverse talent communities, both again digitally and physically, and then finally, how do you make sure that you're increasing those D&I capabilities across your TA organization to both attract and engage diverse talent?
Thank you so much, Jayson. It was so wonderful to have you as a partner, to have you as a conversation, to discuss. You bring so much color. So thanks, and thanks to the audience. But before I leave, I'm going to do one more quick share. And this is about the t-shirt that my team will want me to absolutely make sure we do. So here, let's go to this slide.
And quickly, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this as well, Anoop. Thank you. I really appreciate being here.
Of course. Of course. Hey, we are delighted to be a part of this conference. Thank you to the whole Wade and Wendy team. And Wade and Wendy and Seekout, one of the things we miss in our physical, not being in-person conferences, there is no swag, but we said, let's come up with a solution. So Wade and Wendy and Seekout teams came together to design this wonderful t-shirt for you. And if you just go to seekout.io, Recruiting Automation Conference, to this link, you can sign up. We will show you the details in terms of how we really work, but also you will get the t-shirt that is there. So again, thank you so much. And we are delighted to be listening. I'm just so honored and inspired by what Carmen and Torin and what they're telling us and the insights we're getting. So thank you again. Guess we're going to leave the stage. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Anoop. Jayson, really inspirational just to hear the work that you've done so far, yeah. Jayson. And Anoop, I joke, Anoop, I was actually one of the first Seekout users, I'm proud to say. I might have been in the first 50. It's an incredible product. And when we were putting together this conference, diversity and inclusion has been core to what Seekout has been doing from the start. And we were really excited to have them as a partner and as a part of this. So Anoop, thank you. I hit the stage channel, and I'll hit the event channel as well with a link where you can sign up for the free conference t-shirt. They're really beautiful, high quality shirts. They look great. So please sign up, check out Seekout, and get that free t-shirt. As far as the rest of the day, so we have a few minutes here to catch your breath, grab a quick lunch, hit the networking room, which is very, very open. And I will probably hop into the networking room, so you might get a chance to meet me. So definitely check that out. And then back here in 20 minutes at 1:45 Eastern, we have an incredible conversation happening called Inclusive from the Start, Building an Equitable Top of the Funnel and Candidate Experience. Certainly some of the takeaways from Seekout will likely come up in that conversation as well. So I urge everyone to stick around for that. We still have some incredible programming throughout the day. We still have the donation drive for Code 2040, which Seekout is also helping support happening. So check the channels for the pinned message there. Everyone, hope you're having fun. Go network, meet some of the other folks that are here, and we'll see you back here in 20 minutes. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Dave.